Did you just put the ring on, or are you in the first few years of your marriage? Welcome to the First Year Marriage Show, a podcast dedicated to helping newlyweds navigate the first few years of marriage. My husband, Marcus, and I will be sharing marriage tips to help you build a strong foundation for your marriage. We believe having a strong foundation is essential to having a happy, healthy, and lasting marriage. We will also be learning from the experiences of awesome married couples who have been where you are today, taking from them lessons to help you build a strong foundation for the lasting marriage you desire. Take a deep breath, relax, learn, and enjoy the show. Welcome to this week's episode of the First Year Marriage Show. We wanted to let you know that our book is now on Amazon and Kindle. It's called Communication in Marriage. It's about how to communicate with your spouse without fighting. And it's only 99 cents until this Thursday, February 26, 2015. If you do buy it, please leave us a rating and review on Amazon. You can go to firstyearmarriage.com/communicationbook for the link, or you can check the show notes. We're really excited to get this book out there and to share the tips and techniques we use every day to be able to communicate with each other without fighting and in a healthy way. One other announcement before we get started is we will be on vacation next week, so there will not be an episode, but we will be with you the following week. So today we wanted to give you the audio version of one of the chapters in the book. The chapter is about the 7 steps that'll help you communicate effectively with your spouse, and we wanted to give you a preview of it. So this excerpt is taken from chapter 7, titled 7 Simple Steps for Getting Started. How do you begin communicating with your spouse? This can be a daunting task, especially when your spouse does not want to talk with you. But look no further. The steps below can help you communicate with your spouse, even if you don't know where to start. It'll also help you improve communication in your marriage when things are not going well, and it starts with you putting into action the 7 simple steps below that we share with you. We have used these simple steps several times to improve communication in our marriage, and we have had great successes. Honestly, we really believe these communication strategies will help you get started on communicating better with your spouse today. Even if your spouse is not willing to practice them with you, you can practice them every day and it'll make your marriage better. Number 1, may I have your attention, please? This is where you practice actively listening. Make sure both you and your spouse are listening and paying attention when you have a conversation with each other. If your spouse is not listening or paying attention to all your words, will not be heard. When your spouse is saying something to you, stop and listen to them. They will appreciate you listening. Actually listen, not just hear. All you have to do is listen attentively to everything your spouse says to you. Don't interrupt while they talk, and put away distractions. It's very easy to be distracted these days due to how busy we all are. Distractions make it very difficult to communicate, especially when it comes to listening, paying full attention, and being engaged in the conversation. The environment you're in impacts how you communicate. A great place to start is by asking your spouse when a good time would be to have their undivided attention. Make sure it's not when your spouse is too tired, stressed, or emotionally charged. Number 2 is no yelling. Do not yell at your spouse when you're trying to convey a message or talking to each other. It simply does not set the tone for effective communication. Do you want your spouse to yell at you? Ironically, we yell to be heard, but it only encourages your spouse to yell or completely shut down. Talk to them how you want to be talked to, in a calm and respectful tone. If you feel you are getting too emotional or angry, take a break and revisit when you are both calm. Be respectful and loving with your tone. Step number 3, a mile in your spouse's shoes. Whenever you are having a discussion, argument, or just talking, try to see the issue from your spouse's point of view. Try to understand where your spouse is coming from and practice empathetic listening. This will enable you to understand what your spouse is trying to communicate to you. How would your spouse best understand what you are trying to communicate to them? Remember that they think differently than you. Step number 4 is confirm understanding. Clarify. Ask your spouse if they understand what you're trying to communicate to them. Let them describe it to you if they understand you clearly. What words are they using? What does the word mean? This works to help you see where they are with understanding what you're trying to convey. Don't say everything is fine when you know something is wrong. Mean what you say to your spouse. If you are in a noisy environment It makes it difficult to hear, let alone listen and understand what the other person is saying. Make sure the environment you're in is good enough to hear each other clearly, to be able to understand and communicate well. When you do not hear something, don't be afraid to ask. It's better to ask now than rather than later. Step number 5, change your style and hit a home run. When your spouse does not understand something you've said, try explaining it to them using different ways. Depending on what you're trying to communicate, you can try different verbal explanations, analogies, or even pictures. You could also use drawings of diagrams, writing on paper, etc. If you don't understand anything or did not hear something your spouse said, don't be shy. Ask them to repeat what they said and explain in a way that you can understand. Step number 6, take a break. If you're not able to make progress communicating a thought, idea, a problem, or you begin to feel frustrated, take a break. Revisit later after you each have had time to think about the issue. This is so important and extremely helpful. Sometimes we just need time to reevaluate. Step number 7 is rinse and repeat. Apply the above strategies every time you communicate with your spouse. Remember, the key is to be open-minded, listen attentively, and have patience. These 7 strategies are proven from our life and marriage experience, and we encourage you to apply them to communicate better with your spouse. We have used and continue to use these simple steps to communicate with each other, and they work. In order to improve communication in any marriage, the desire and willingness of the couple is required. Therefore, you need to understand it will take intentional effort from you and your spouse to communicate effectively in your marriage. In addition, by knowing how to communicate better with your spouse, you can prevent most of the communication issues and petty, even some big, arguments in your marriage. So that's most of chapter 7 in the book. Kind of gives just an overview of everything we talk about in the book and how to apply it in 7 simple steps. But the book covers more in depth about trust, about how men and women communicate differently, about respecting and loving your spouse, different things like that, things that we thought were really important and all part of communication. So we want to thank you for listening to this week's episode. We know we did things a little differently this week. We hope you enjoyed the sneak peek at our book, and it's now available on Amazon. To get a copy, visit firstyearmarriage.com/communication book. And remember, it's only 99 cents until Wednesday just before midnight. For the show notes for this episode, visit firstyearmarriage.com/24. Thank you and enjoy your week. Thank you for listening to another episode of the First Year Marriage Show. To submit a question, feedback, or suggestions for the podcast, visit firstyearmarriage.com/feedback. Apply what you've learned today and build a strong foundation for the happy, healthy, and lasting marriage you desire. Enjoy your marriage. Enjoy your life.